shoot a man in Sandy, killing him at the scene. Hear what officers say led up to the shooting.
Sucks that something like that could just happen in an instant.
Plus, we're hearing from people who saw the deadly crash near Great Saltair. Hear where they were going when they stopped to help. And ABC4 News is celebrating our 75-year anniversary. We're throwing it back to our first ever broadcast. What it was like the day television was introduced to Utah, it's worth watching.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Hello, I'm Sarah Murphy. Thanks for joining us tonight for ABC4 News at 10. We begin this evening checking in on our weather. Now, this afternoon, we had a nice little break after this morning's storm, but it's looking like it's back. Here's a look at I-15 in Honeyville. The road's covered in snow, and right now, visibility is looking pretty low. So let's check in on your pinpoint weather forecast with meteorologist Nate Larson. Now, Nate, roads are looking slick. So how can we expect the morning commute tomorrow to look?
You know, unfortunately, we're going to be likely seeing a lot of similar conditions to what we're seeing now, Sarah. We've got a band of moisture moving through this evening. It's working its way south. It's in Davis County now, working towards the Salt Lake Valley. And we're expecting some lake effect snow to also impact the morning drive. Hey, this was a much more visible shot just a few moments ago. Snow now covering the lens, though. This was I-15 southbound Hillfield Road. You can see the traffic moving along. You can see the snow coming down to that the light there that's out off the freeway. But boy, we've really got a decent amount of snowfall coming in. Doesn't look super impressive on storm tracker radar. A lot of the shower activity in the southwest corner is tapered off, still dealing with some light snow showers, mainly across western Colorado, but a little bit still, it looks like just south of I-70, east and north of Moab. But we are looking at a decent band of some snow extending from essentially the north end of the state near the Idaho state line all the way south along the I-15 corridor into now what looks like Bountiful. Starting to see some of those showers inch closer towards Salt Lake County, seeing a little bit of snow out towards Tooele. And we are anticipating some major impacts to the commute tomorrow morning, with snow showers expected to linger into tomorrow morning with lake effect snow, with this area seeing shaded in red. We do have some possibility of periods of snow and slush on the roads for much of the central part of the state as well. So putting Futurecast into motion, the moisture moves in. Again, with lake effect snowfall, could be anywhere from Ogden, setting up south towards Salt Lake, or even to the point of the mountain. Could see some lingering bands of moisture with some, again, significant impacts to tomorrow morning commute, but clearing up by tomorrow evening. This first wave, we'll talk about, we have winter weather advisories, how much snow is expected to fall with these lake effect bands of snow. Details on that coming up with my full forecast. Sarah?
All right. Thank you, Nate. In other news, one person is dead after Sandy police responded to a 911 call overnight. That call about a man who was reportedly going through a mental health crisis. ABC4's Annika Johns joins us live in studio with what police say happened and what led to deadly measures that were taken. Annika?
Thanks, Sarah. Sandy police say they responded to the call for a 33-year-old male who was possibly suicidal. After he was located by police, it was only a short time later before the officer discharged his weapon.
Sandy City Police responded to a report of a man in distress around 1 a.m. Sunday morning.
As our officers were getting into the area, we had been informed that that subject had left the residence. Our officer located the subject walking on 1000 East at about Castle Rock Road.
A single officer located the man and attempted to approach. Sandy police say the man presented himself in a threatening way, prompting the officer to fire. At
some point, something took place where the subject presented an immediate threat to our officer, and unfortunately those actions were met with deadly force from our officer, who discharged his firearm and hitting the subject, who was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Moffitt continued, saying that Sandy officers spend a vast majority of their training hours focused on dealing with mental health.
It's been a goal of the department to make sure that all of our officers are CIT certified, which is the dealing with mentally ill people that are in crisis.
However, they went on saying that situations can change in an instant.
They go very polar from one end to the other in just a matter of seconds, and in some cases even fractions of seconds. So we try to do as best as we possibly can to mitigate anything like this and de-escalate.
Sandy police continued explaining how those in situations where they pose as a threat to themselves or others, all parties involved need to be taken into consideration.
In this case, it took a tragic turn of events when, what we are really trying to do is preserve life and not end it.
Sandy police continued saying that the case has been turned over to the Salt Lake County officer-involved critical incident investigation team. The officer who fired his weapon is on leave pending the investigation. At this time, there is no information regarding whether or not the man was armed. Back to you, Sarah.
Police are still looking for the man who robbed Salt Lake's indoor swap meet with a gun yesterday evening. The suspect shot multiple rounds and hit someone. Police say he was targeting a specific business at the swap meet. Now, we spoke to someone who's a vendor there. She was working when the shooting happened, and she said it was terrifying.
Creíamos que se trataba pues una de esas tirotizas que últimamente pues la gente hace y mata gente, llegan a lugares públicos.
The person who was shot right now is reported to be okay. Police say the suspect is an adult Hispanic male around 6 feet tall. They say he was wearing a mask and had sunglasses. We're following the fatal crash that happened near the Great Saltair last night, where a car and a semi collided on the 202 overpass at I-80. Today, ABC4 News spoke with a group that was heading to a concert there when they saw the crash, stopped their car, and got out to help.
It was definitely a hard one to see with the girl who was just, you could tell she was young. Going to a show that I go to very often, it sucks that something like that could just happen in an instant.
An instant. What might have happened fast left an emotional impact.
Like I said, she was young. She was a young girl, and I've never seen a situation like that. So.
Stowell reflecting on what she and her siblings witnessed just the day before.
That literally just
They just ran into each other.
We seen a little bit of smoke when we first pulled up, but stopped. It was just pitch black, so couldn't really see a whole lot.
We had to do something about it. I wasn't driving by it, I know that.
The three Stowell siblings were on their way to a concert at the Great Saltair Saturday night when they arrived at a fatal crash.
We had tried to go around it, and then we noticed this semi driver was outside on the phone already.
I rolled down the window, asked him what happened. He said he didn't know what happened, but he needs help.
It was a head-on collision between a vehicle and a semi-truck on the 202 overpass at I-80, killing two. 35-year-old Faye Lokita Kahofiafia and 20-year-old Victoria Kayanea Thompson.
Two people from that passenger vehicle are deceased, and the third passenger has been taken to a local hospital in extremely critical condition.
It's a moment, the siblings say, they've learned from and will never forget.
And nothing can ever prepare you for that. It's just the time of thinking.
I just hope the families are all right. It was a very unexpected loss for them, I'm sure.
I never thought it would happen to me, especially going to something that I love dearly.
Definitely a tragic crash and a heavy experience. Now, Unified Police report the semi-truck driver was not hurt. They say they're continuing to investigate what caused the crash. Right now, police records show the driver, Fia, was in a rollover crash earlier this year. And in Morgan County, a semi-truck hauling 72,000 pounds of beer slid off the road near the Weber River earlier this afternoon, closing down the freeway. It happened on I-84 near the Peterson exit. When Morgan County Fire and EMS arrived, they stopped the diesel fuel from going in the river, preventing a hazmat mess. Morgan County and EMS now asking drivers to slow down, adding multiple semi-trucks have slid off the road in this area in recent months. Coming up here on ABC4 News, we're celebrating our 75-year anniversary. We'll take a look back to what it was like the day television was introduced to Utah. More on that after the break.